randomly for a living or gone door to door knocking on doors to solicit for business? Who has done that? Would you say that that was fun? Fun?
It used to be automatic after a point.
Okay, so you get used to it.
Still not fun.
Okay, okay. I think if you do it long enough, when it feels awkward when you don't do it, that's called a habit. And so when you start developing habits which initially make you uncomfortable, that's probably a good thing. Because again, if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. So whether it's picking up the phone and calling the people you know, which is uncomfortable because they think, oh, you're trying to sell to me. You're thinking that, but they're not. You do the things that are uncomfortable and you create a habit behind it, and that's actually a pretty awesome thing to do. A lot of people who are successful, that's what they do. Okay, anyone else got an idea? Nope. Okay, do you think your desire to succeed is more powerful than your fear from doing the one thing that will make you successful? I guess the question is, how much do you really want to be successful? What are you willing to do? How uncomfortable are you willing to get? How many hours are you willing to put in? How many training programs are you willing to go to? Are you willing to show up on time? You know, as I mentioned, showing up and doing the work is like one of the single things. Again, that consistency pattern. What are you willing to do to be successful? They say if your fear is greater than your desire to succeed, then you will not succeed. So just, wanted to touch on that a little bit. Okay, so let's turn the page. All right, we're going into business. Anything? You need a handout? Yeah, I do.
Or two. I think there's
Yeah, that's what we got.
Three.
My name's Natalie. I haven't met some of you.
Hi,
You
Natalie.
are
Catherine Tickner.
Catherine?
Yes.
Nice
Hi,
to
Natalie.
meet you. Let me put your name down here. And then when'd you get your license?
5 years ago.
Oh, okay. So you're experienced.
Have some.
You said Catherine, right?
Yes.
Okay. How did you get to KW? Have you been at KW?
I interviewed KW when I first got my license over in Danville. Ended up going to an independent, and I'm actually down the street doing other work, but I wanted to transition into doing more real estate.
Excellent.
So I knew that Keller Williams was supposed to be.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
One of the worst mistakes I made in real estate was not coming to KW soon enough. I was actually started my business at a small boutique brokerage, and I learned that they don't provide a whole lot. Yeah, you need help with that stuff. Okay, so we're gonna remind you that you're in sales. Do you guys have an idea of what sales really is? Anyone? Shout it out. What do you think about sales? Anybody?
Reach out to people and try to get their business.
Okay. Okay, anyone else?
Marketing.
What's that?
Marketing.
Marketing, that's part of it, absolutely. Anyone else?
Closing.
Closing. You gotta close to make some money, right? That's part of the sales process. All right.
Convincing people.
What's that?
Convincing people.
Confusing people?
Convincing.
Oh, convincing people. Yes. Like what? I would agree. Yes, it is convincing people, right? And that's part of the closing process, right? They say that sales is really, especially on the buyer side, is a process of elimination, helping them through that process. Definitely. Were you going to say something?
Finding something that people want or need, and then convincing them that they
There
should
you
buy it.
go.
Yeah.
Filling the need, right?
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I mean, it says to talk about sales. Make sure you understand you're getting into sales. Sales is a contact sport. Who's heard that phrase before? If you're not contacting people, you're not going to sell a whole lot of stuff. And there are a lot of people who do work by referral. Let's say you know 200 people when you get in the business and you call those people consistently, but soon enough you run out of people who you know, right? Well, who are you going to sell to? So it's the contacts with the people that you know, the people that you don't know, so you can convert as many people to METs and have METs, right? The more people you know, probably the more sales you're going to have, and as you sharpen your tool shed, so to speak, you're going to be more productive. Because you could talk to 100 people, and if you don't know what to say and who to say it to, you're not going to sell. So again, being in a class, learning the scripts and the dialogues, having the practice with people is really important to actually selling stuff. Okay, so again, we're in sales and it's a contact sport. All right. The secret to this business, whether or not you knew it, anyone want to take a guess what kind of business you're in besides sales? Anybody?
Service.
What's that?
Service.
Good guess. No, I'm going to keep on the script here. You're in the lead generation business. In order to convert to sales, like you had mentioned, you got to have leads. That's why I said it's a contact sport. So to get these leads, you're going to do a variety of things. So just know you are in the lead generation business. Really not yes, sales, but without leads, you have no sales. So they say, what's the one thing that you can do so that you can sell a lot of house? It's to have a lot of leads. Now, when I say leads, that's a little different than referrals. I say referrals, but it's kind of the same thing. So right now it's going to be synonymous, okay? So you are absolutely in the lead generation business. It says I'm just going to read off of here. It says your livelihood is going to be dependent on the number of homes you're going to help others buy or sell. Gary Keller, co-founder of the company, says you're actually in two businesses in this order: the business of lead generation and the business of real estate. So you're going to, again, learn systems and models and how to get leads and then how to convert them and then understand the real estate business, okay? Mindset is huge in this business. People are, they say law of attraction. You can see some people do open houses and it's, they could say the right thing, but if they have the wrong mindset, they will not attract people to them. Mindset is, to me, is one of the biggest things. That's how you attract people. It's how you're able to, build teams and have people, want to do business with you. You think that lead generation will be making phone calls that are bothering or annoying people. We all feel that way, but especially when we feel like we're being sold to. However, when you adopt an attitude of contribution, a significant shift in how people respond happens. So again, it's changing your focus that you're not bothering people. You're actually going to be providing service to them and providing value. So when you always come from an attitude or a mindset of providing value to people, you have to keep that in mind no matter when you make a contact, whether it's a phone call, a door knock, an open house, greeting, what you're going to say, come from value, and then they're not going to look at you like a salesperson. Does that make sense? Okay. Who here has ever had kind of a negative mindset about, let's say you meet someone and you're feeling a little negative about them. Has anyone ever been guilty of that? How do you overcome that negative feeling? Any idea?
Perspective.
What's that?
I changed my perspective.
Okay, very good. Gary, did you raise your hand?
Oh, I was just going to say, yes, I've done that before.
Okay, okay.
But
Were you going to comment as well?
I haven't been able to overcome that yet. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So again, you have control over very few things. One of the things that you have a lot of control over is what you think. I mean, I don't know what the average thought, how many thoughts we have a day. You have so much control over that thought process, and again, that's attractive to people. You need to keep that in mind when you're in this business particularly, okay? Energy, enthusiasm, and a deeply rooted belief in doing the best job possible for each and every customer you'll attract people to you. So they say take every opportunity to educate in your personal, professional, social life about what you do and how you can help other people. Okay? Go to the next page. So we're going to talk about this class. This class was actually created by Gary Keller, called the 6 Personal Perspectives. So we've got a video we're going to show you. This particular little video, they've got a whole, I want to say a 4-hour class on it. It's going to talk about some really cool stuff. So mindset, the Pareto principle, some of the other things you may or may not heard of. So we're going to have a look at that, and then we're going to talk about the video, okay? Let's see if I can get it started. Has anyone met him? He's got a great accent. Good guy. Uh-oh. Hopefully you can hear it.
G'day, I'm Bruce Hardy, and I'm committing to self-mastery. This is one of the main 6 perspectives that I think we all need to focus on, particularly if we want to take our business and our lives to the highest level. When I was younger and lived in Australia, a good friend of mine was a black belt in karate. He invited me to participate in karate, so I joined. I was a white belt, And after about 6 weeks or so, we were one day practicing sparring. And it was interesting because we were throwing a punch, relatively simple, straightforward punch. We both knew how to do it. The idea was that you would throw the punch and you would stop 2 inches from the other person's face. So my friend, the black belt, would do it, and he would snap, his gi would snap, and I had wind hitting me in the face, and it was just beautiful the way he threw it. Then it was my turn, and I got down and I went whack, and I watched my friend fall to the floor because I hit him instead of stopping 2 inches in front of his face. We both knew how to do it. He'd mastered it, I had not. I will tell you, I brought the same approach to my real estate business. I realized my focus had to be on listings. And what I did was, by focusing on my listing presentation, practicing over and over and over again, I was able to list over 250 homes a year. There's a wonderful saying out there, and that is, amateurs practice to get it right, professionals practice to never get it wrong. My question to you, are you an amateur or are you a professional? Commit to self-mastery.
Oh, good. I was going to go through the whole thing. Yay, it's short. Okay. All right. So on page 9, it talks about the 6 personal perspectives. Let's see. Yeah, that's the one video. Okay. The most successful at this business know that it takes a certain mindset and attitude, which we talked about, to keep at it every day, and especially to excel. Fortunately, Keller Williams has a foundational model for the successful mindset, which came into existence, again, because Gary Keller asked the question to 100 top agents, and that's when he actually created the MREA book. Have you all read the MREA book? Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, the Red Book? They're actually creating a second book right now. It's kind of fun. They've been interviewing agents, but if you have not read that book, please get that book. It's a fantastic roadmap for building a business, still very, very relevant today. What is it that differentiates those who achieve at the highest level from those who don't seem to accomplish much? After thorough researching this question, Gary discovered that all high achievers have 3 basic attributes in common. And this is what we're going to talk about. The mindset, the attitudes, and then the approach to life. Okay? So based on these attributes, the 6 personal perspectives came to be, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about. Are you here for the class?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't have another handout. Let me... Okay. Going to talk about self-mastery. So self-mastery by definition is the possession of great knowledge, skill, and habits that make you a master. Any idea how many hours you need to do something to become a master?
It says something like 10,000.
How much?
Someone said 10,000.
I mean, it's a ridiculous
Yeah,
amount.
it's
I don't remember
crazy.
what the
That's like
number
10
is. It's a
years.
ridiculous amount
Like
of...
5 for how many years? There's 19 work hours, 20 work hours. So basically, you would spend almost 5 years until you got a mastery over something.
That's probably about right. I mean, there
Yeah.
is a certain number of hours now that they say, and it's gone back and forth a little bit. It depends on who you talk to. You talk to Tony Robbins, a Gary Keller, a Zig Ziglar, all those guys, they're all going to give you a number, but it's a lot of hours. A lot of hours, and again, that's why we want to practice. So when you commit to achieving self-mastery in real estate, and your name again was? Catherine. About 5 years, I think 5 years is about when you start feeling comfortable. Would you agree, Gary? 5
Yeah,
years?
at least, yeah.
And would you agree? About 5 years you start feeling comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay. By then, you're going to, to commit to this, you're going to know your goals, right? Because you right now know what you don't know, so you want to set some goals so that you can become a master. You're going to know your strengths and weaknesses, right? Who has ever heard of Tiger Woods? Of course you've heard of Tiger Woods, right? You've heard that the guy, there were some things to his game he was not very good at. He knew what he was great at, and he became a master at that. So you want to basically become a master at your strengths and then shore up your weaknesses. His short game was not great, but he was fantastic at a bunch of other things. Real estate's the same way. When you start practicing your craft, you're going to learn what you're really good at. You're going to realize if you do open houses and it just becomes natural and easy to you, that might be your strength. There are companies, there are businesses, there are agents and teams out there that build their entire business around open houses. So if you're a master at that and you're good at it, leverage that and stay in your lane. Don't become a cold caller. You should all be working by referral, but don't maybe focus on the working by referral, although I wouldn't necessarily say that. But again, as you become, practicing, you're going to realize what you're good at. You're going to know your strengths and your weaknesses, and we always encourage to even make your strengths even stronger and become a master at it. Number 3, you're going to know how to work with both your strengths and weaknesses to seek and master the necessary knowledge, skills, and habits to reach your goals. Okay? So they're asking us to reinforce Ignite that you're going to be acquiring skills, right? In this business, and probably in any sales career, they say skills pay the bills, and never is it more apparent in real estate. I mean, you think about it, what's the average sales price here? Anybody?
Just over $1 million.
7 million?
Just over $1
Oh
million.
my God, 7 million?
I wish.
Let's say $1 million times 3%, right on the list side, 30 grand, right? So you go to a listing presentation, and someone says, "Hey, will you list my house for 1%?" And what do you say?
I don't know.
Scripts and dialogues, right? Scripts and dialogues. This is where you make and break. If you have skills, you're going to pay the bills because you're going to know what to say. You're going to know when to say it, how to say it, and who to say it to. So you can get the listing and not have to sell a listing at 1% and make no money, right? Because again, most people will spend as much as they make in this business. And remember, the average agent makes $29,300. So when someone asks you that question, you need to know what to say. And I'm not trying to put anyone on the spot. I'm just being realistic with you. You've got to get your skills down because you will go broke fast in this business if you don't have skills, okay? So again, we're going to try to teach you skills, develop habits. Now, how do we develop habits? Who here has played soccer, softball, football, baseball? How did you get your who gave you your habits and skills?
I guess coach.
Coach. Did you guys hear that? Coach. Really? How long did you play sports?
Probably like 20 years.
Okay, long time. What was your sport?
Soccer.
Soccer. Me too. I was a goalkeeper. Yeah. What position did you play?
Midfield.
Midfield. Okay. All right. You ran the offense and the defense,
Yep.
and you're in the best shape.
Yep.
That's right. Midfielder, big time. So notice how he said coach? This business is no different than being on an athletic team. You need to hire a coach. It doesn't say this in the stuff, but you need to hire a coach. Trust me. You need someone to be looking at your business, coaching you in your business. Part of what we're doing here, this is coaching. This is kind of what I'm doing. This is coaching. So even when you get out of the 12 weeks of Ignite, the first thing people should do after they get a few transactions under their belt is they need to hire a coach. And that's for me. Trust me, you need to hire a coach. Okay, moving right along. So self-mastery. Number 2, commit to the 80-20 principle. Does anyone have any idea what the 80-20 principle is? Any idea? No guess?
It's like 80% of your effort goes towards like 20% of your work. Something like that.
That's, well, actually, I'll read it to you, so I don't want to say it wrong. It's called the Pareto principle. That's the other name for it. The idea that 20% of your actions, only 20% lead to 80% of your results. That can be, and that's one of the most powerful principles you can apply, not just in business, but in your life. This principle is actually consistent across many industries, many things. In real estate, like say sales, 20% of the agents are selling 80% of the houses. This is a consistent principle. The work that you do in the morning time, that lead gen, that's going to be 80% of what you produce. So how much are we doing lead gen? Who here actually knows what your job is in real estate? Anyone? Can anyone tell me what I talked to Heidi about this. Does anyone know what your job is? This quick little test.
Lead generation.
Boom! Yeah, lead gen. What else? When you get a lead, what do you got to do with it?
finding what they want.
Yes, yeah.
Follow.
Follow up, there you go. So lead gen, lead follow up. What else? What else is your job?
Build relationship.
Yes, but not the top 5. So if you think about it, there's 5 things that you should be doing during the day, and if you're not doing them, you're not doing your job. Can I share them with you?
Yeah.
Lead generation, lead follow up, negotiate, write contracts and go on appointments. That's it. Those are your 5 jobs. That's what Keller Williams is going to teach you. This is the best way to hire an assistant, because if you're not lead generating, lead follow up, writing contracts, negotiating, or going on appointments, you're doing someone else's job. You're doing an assistant job. Okay? Again, lead generation, lead follow up, write contracts, negotiate, go on appointments. What was the last one? That's it. Anyway, that's your job. That's what we're going to teach you to do. In order to do your job, you got to do a lot of time blocking and things like that. So again, that's what this Ignite training is about. So in Ignite, we're going to identify the 20% for you, your money-making activity. If you're not doing those money-making activities, you're not doing your job. So when you're doing your marketing, when you're dropping a lockbox, when you're running errands. Most agents run errands all day, I'll be honest with you. They're in there, oh, I got to go get this, I got to go get that. They're not doing their job. This is why most people are dead broke in real estate. You've got to know what your job is, and it's not running errands. You need other people to run errands, and you need a very defined time to do this. So just understand the 20% of what you do, if you do the 5 things, that 20% is going to bring you 80% of your results. And again, they call that the Pareto principle. Okay? So don't forget it. It's going to come up. They don't call it here, but it's called the Pareto principle.
P-A-R-E-D-O.
Paredo. Yeah.
That's used in a whole bunch of places.
Is it?
Same
Oh, yeah.
idea.
Very consistent.
Engineering.
Yeah. And it's true. And it's true. Okay, so next one. Okay, first was self-mastery. Second was 80-20 principle. Again, Pareto principle. Now we're going to talk about high achievers are always looking for a purposeful way. By doing this, they break through the ceiling of their natural behavior. Okay? You can attain certain levels of success utilizing your natural abilities, but expect to hit a ceiling. Okay? So I'm going to give you an example. So agent gets their license, they're let's say they're out door knocking, they're doing some business, but they don't hire an assistant. There's only so many hours in a day that you can go door knock and write contracts and go on inspections and schedule and do this and that. Pretty soon you run out of hours in the day, right? You basically you've hit the ceiling. Okay, so that's kind of what this is going to talk about. Let me see, where did I leave off? Okay, wouldn't you like to achieve even greater?
Example?
Yeah, give an example.
So when I was working as an independent broker, I was focused on close friends and family.
You focus on what?
Close friends and family.
Okay.
And so then you run out of, there's only so many close friends and family that you find, up here in the Bay Area. Then it's like, okay, well now I need to expand to have acquaintances and
Okay.
strangers.
Mm-hmm.
And then how to transition that. And I'm like, that's what I need to
Okay.
know.
Okay. Good example. Anyone else got an example? Go ahead.
I have a question.
Yep.
I thought you could say know your strength. Is there any way that you have a tester that gives the customer and know where's your strength?
To know your strengths?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when things come easy to you, that's typically your strength, and if you enjoy it, that is typically, examples of what your strength's going to be. We actually have a test here called the AVA. And AVA. I forget what the AVA stands for. It's a personality profile. And when you figure out what your personality profile is and you match that up to whatever job you're doing, it should align, and you'll find that if something's feeling uncomfortable, you're just not getting results, it may not be your strength. So the Keller Williams testing is AVA. Other people use a DISC. That's another one where you'll find your personality profile. That's free if you go to Tony Robbins' website, anthonyrobbins.com. He has a pull down, do the DISC test if you don't do anything. If you do the AVA with Keller Williams, I think they charge you like $50 or something. But the DISC is really good. What's that?
KPA.
Did they call it a KPA?
KPA.
Okay, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, it used to be called an AVA,
Oh.
but KPA, Keller Property Analysis, or Keller Profile, or something.
All right.
Anyway, ask me after. I can get the information from Mike and we can get that to you. But it helps to know your strengths in your personality and then align it with what you're doing in your job, and then you know how to approach your business, because there's different ways of approaching this business, okay? It says Ignite's going to help you move from entrepreneurial to purposeful with skill mastery. And so we talked about some of the things that we're going to do that, okay? And then number 4, again, the first was self-mastery. Second, commit to the 80-20 principle. Number 3 was high achievers. Number 4, making being learning-based the foundation of your action plan. Do you guys know what I mean by learning-based? I have a great example. Anyone want to share an example? What's learning-based about?
Well, I just got out of college and I thought I was done with tests and learning and all this,
You thought
but
you were done,
what
yeah.
I'm coming to realize is it's an ongoing thing as long as you're in a profession.
That's actually a really great answer. When I got out of college, what I learned, I realized, man, I don't know anything. And you know very little. The more you learn, you realize how little you know. And then when you go out and you try to learn more stuff and become a better person, there's lots of, being a better person is kind of a generic way of saying that you realize that you're deficient in a lot of knowledge. Go out and do stuff to become better so that you can achieve more, be more, help more people, make more money so that you can do other things. That's what learning base is about. Brian Buffini has this hat. I should have worn it today. It says Imparo. I wore it the other day in my open house. I forget what it is. It means still learning. If you have an attitude of still learning in this business, and actually in any business, that's very attractive, and you'll become very skilled because you're always knowing that you need to get better at what you do. And you can never be complacent in any business. Complacency would just, the business changes too often to be complacent. You need to get better and better. Did you, Heidi, have a comment?
I just wanted to add that there's a difference between being book smart and street smart.
Oh, please tell us. Yes.
So like in college, if you're book smart and then you come
Yeah.
out, it's like, okay, now I want to implement everything I learned in college. It's like, wait a minute, actually doing it
Yeah.
seemed so much easier when I was reading in the book.
Right. Who has an example of book smarts versus street smarts? Go
I
ahead.
don't know about book smart, but I actually find out if you keep yourself in the learning mode, you might look forever young. Because, there was like a guy, he's like about 60, and he looks like 30. So people had interviewed him. He never stopped. He has so many certificates in each area he's professional. So that's why I thought, okay, that's
Yeah.
probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Never give up learning. Or forever looks great.
Yeah.
Good mentality.
It is a good mentality. Now, you were mentioning the coach thing, so, being learning based is being open to, I'm going to say criticism, but being coachable, right? And then knowing where to go to get that coaching. So it could be a personal coach, it could be a business coach, it could be hiring a personal trainer, because being healthy does help you in any business, right? So it just depends on really where your needs are. But don't be afraid to ask other people, hey, what could help me in my business? Bayes Association is an amazing association. They have so many classes there that are free. Really, there's no excuse not to be learning based because much of this training you can get for free. A lot of it's School of Hard Knocks, right? And then watching other people, what doesn't work for them, you'll realize, hey, if it's not working for them, it's probably not going to work for me too on some stuff. But I've seen some really smart people in real estate, and they, let's say I'm working with an agent, and I can tell these people are like, they must have been like a PhD scientist or something. I'm thinking, how do they ever get this client to work with them? And then they overanalyze it. It can be excruciating, right? You'll never want to work with those people again. You really want to have some self-awareness in this business. There's something about, I'm trying to think of what test it was. They talk about having not just social awareness, but having something about being aware of how other people are.
Emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence, that's it. There's a book they wrote about it. Amazing. And they did a study also. They said they took really smart people, right? The smartest of the smart people, they found out those weren't your most successful people. It was actually the B students. I was like, yeah, that's me, the B minus people. You know, we were somewhat social. We were maybe, you know, did a sport or played violin or were more social. And we actually can get along with people. If you have that, you're going to do awesome in real estate. I have to say there is an agent for everyone in this business. So if you're the PhD guy, God bless you, there's clients out there for you. It's just the other people who have really, you know, more emotional intelligence are going to, they just have it easier in this business. They just really do. So just pay attention to stuff like that. Again, learning-based individual is an individual who's made the decision to use effective learning as the foundation piece of their action plan to develop their life. So getting educated and developing this sort of mindset should be in your business plan. So if you have not created a business plan, you're gonna be starting one. I think it's probably a part of this training program. Who here has a business plan? Oh my God, no. Seriously, no one has a business plan. What? No, are you serious?
I have one that isn't as good as I want it to be.
What's that?
I have one, but it's just,
Wow.
needs to be done.
Okay, you guys. Oh my! I'm gonna tell Lloyd that nobody raised their hand when I asked about a business plan. Oh my gosh! When you aim at nothing, what do you hit? Nothing. Nothing. And I'm not joking about that. If you aim at nothing, you're gonna hit it with amazing accuracy. You should know how many houses you want to sell. You need to know where you want to sell. You want to know who your client is. And if you want to keep it really simple, we have this thing called the 135. It's called a GPS. You'll be doing it in this program. Goals, priorities, strategies. What is the one goal? Some people might say, hey, I want to sell 120 houses. That's your one goal. And then you have 3 priorities and then 5 strategies to reach those goals. You don't have to write down my goal. Our goal is 140 houses, which we won't hit that this year, but we're going to be pretty close. But see, GPS, right? Goals, priorities, strategies. Just take a stab at it before next week, okay? That way when Lloyd comes back, he'll be like, yeah, these people have some goals. You need to put pen to paper. You need to be very specific about what you want to accomplish. Otherwise, you're not going to accomplish it. There is a saying, it's a bold law. Once your mind expands, it cannot go back. So if you write down on a piece of paper what you want to achieve, you actually can achieve it. But until you actually write it, imagine it, envision it, know how you're going to spend the money, trust me, you are not going to make the money. We actually do this test, and with your permission, I'll pick someone. I'll do the test real quick, and I'll show you. I don't know if I did. I don't think I did it with you, Heidi. I just did this with someone else, and it shows you where your, I'm going to say your aptitude is in terms of wealth building and what you can do with money. Because you can make a lot of money in real estate. Don't realize that, but you have to actually believe that you can. You have to have a plan, and you have to know what you're going to do with it. Kara, I'm gonna pick on you.
Okay.
So, Kara, I'm going to write you a $100,000 check. And this is total ad-libbing, you guys. Hope you don't mind. I'm going to write you a $100,000 check right now. You have 30 seconds. You cannot invest the money. How are you going to spend the money? You have 30 seconds.
How am I going to spend that money?
Yeah. Let me get my watch out.
How much money?
I just gave her $100,000. She has to tell me in now 25 seconds. How are you going to spend the money and you cannot invest the money?
If I cannot invest the money, well, first of all, I'm going to pay off everything that I can so that I'm not in debt anymore.
Okay.
And then
you might have some extra, right?
Yeah.
Or you might, are you going to pay
I
off
have a
your
lot
house?
extra actually,
You
but
gonna
I
pay
just
off
want
your
to get clear because my main goal for
Okay.
real estate is to provide for my family.
Okay.
So, with that being said, I think I would obviously put in money for marketing.
Boom, done. Okay.
Okay. How are you? That's
Okay.
tough. That's tough. Thank you.
Okay, so another question for you, Kara.
Yeah.
That was today. So tomorrow, I'm going to write you a check for $200,000. You have 30 seconds. How are you going to spend the money?
You're making me sweat, Natalie. Okay. How am I going to spend that money?
Yeah.
What I want to do is actually draw up a business plan so I can put it into different
Okay.
areas of where I'm going to spend that money.
Okay.
The marketing, like I already said, the
10
tools that I need
10 seconds.
to
4, 3,
Coach, a coach.
2, 1. Oh, done. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Do you see how easily we get distracted and how if And I don't mean to put you on the
No,
spot
it's okay.
there. And this was, I went to a class one time, it's this lady, and she teaches people about money and people's thoughts about money. Some people think that money's really bad. And it's not money that's bad, it's sometimes it's everything that comes along with money. They say the love of, it's the love of money that's bad, right? It's not what money brings. To me, money's a tool. But when you do that game, it's the game of life. If you don't have a plan for your money, you will not make the money. You will not make the money. So you need to write down, what do you want to do? So if you make 50 grand next year, or X or 100,000, you're gonna, put 50 grand away for your, college tuition for kids or whatever it might be. So you need to start taking a lot of this stuff seriously. And we do it jokingly, but this is true. When you ask successful people what they're going to do with the money, they can tell you. And that's the difference. You need to have a different mindset. This is what successful people do. They know exactly what they're going to do with their money. They know how they're going to spend money on their business, how they're going to invest in their business, and how they're going to leverage to get their time back. I mean, there's certain things that you can do in business, but you need to be very, very intentional. So again, hopefully next week, you guys will at least take a little stab at it and have a GPS, again, goals, priorities, strategies, and at least know, hey, I want to sell 20 houses this year. I want to make 150 grand or just something, and then just expand on it, okay? Sorry to go off on that a little bit, but I get super passionate about people who have no plan. There's a plan.
I can see
If
that
you have no
now.
plan, you plan
Yeah.
to fail, I guess is. And we don't want to plan to fail, right? We don't want to be average. Go ahead.
How often do you update your business plan?
As often as I need to. I work on a 12-week year. I don't work on a calendarized year. We do have a calendarized goal, but we work on a 12-week year. There's a book that was written on it. I think you need to be looking at your plan more often than most people. Most people write a plan, they don't look at it for 9 months. Oh, then like the 10th month, they're like, crap, I better get working. I'm supposed to hit some goal. You need to be looking at it on a weekly basis. Yeah, that's, again, whole nother conversation. All right, let's talk about limiting beliefs. Anyone here a Tony Robbins fan? Anyone know Tony? You like Tony Robbins?
He's awesome.
Yeah, he says it a lot, which is kind of a turn off to me. But I went to one of his seminars one time. Oh my gosh, talk about my energy. Have you ever been?
Not in person, though.
Pretty cool stuff. Have you read any of his books?
No.
No.
It's
Oh my
mostly
gosh.
videos.
There's a couple books out there that changed my life. One of them was called Unlimited Power and Awaken the Giant Within. And essentially, you really can do whatever you want to do. It's kind of biblical in nature too, but you can accomplish anything you want to accomplish. And all you have to do is model those who are successful, okay? And so Tony Robbins, and what they talk about here is limiting beliefs. And you know what he calls limiting beliefs? LBS? Any idea? It's an acronym. Anyone want to guess? I'll tell you. Limiting bullshit. Limiting beliefs are limiting bullshit. We say so much negative stuff in our brain, so you need to get that stuff out of your brain. You can do this through affirmations. You can do this through reading books. Start reading the things that successful people are reading. Okay?
What was that first book thing I said? I got the
Oh,
second
Unlimited,
one.
Awaken the Giant Within and Unlimited Power.
Unlimited
Those
Power.
are his first two books. He's written many, many books since then. But again, anything's possible. Go ahead.
Who Moved My Cheese?
That's a great book.
That was really big amongst
Yeah.
real estate.
I have a copy of that.
Everyone in commercial real estate did that.
I forget exactly how the book went, but it's one of the books I've read.
What's the name of that?
About 4 months.
Who Moved My Cheese? Or the other books?
What you were just talking about?
Oh, Unlimited Power
Oh, that.
and Awaken the Giant Within. Yeah. And then the limiting bullshit. Okay. In order to successfully develop at a higher level, you will need to clear your mind of limiting beliefs. For example, are any of these thoughts in your head? Actually, before I read what they say here, I hear this all the time. Oh, I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, I don't know what to say, I don't have enough experience, they won't like me, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not old enough, I don't have enough experience. I mean, I hear this all the time. These are all limiting beliefs.
Introduction by Steve Forbes.
Some people might say, hey, I have to be an expert and know everything I can to begin my business. And that's just completely not valid, right? It's just not valid. Number two, I don't think I can achieve a profit goal that will fund my life this year. Again, that's a limiting belief. And then the last one is, because I'm in business, business will come to me naturally. I don't need to devote 3 hours a day to lead generation. That's a weird one. Yeah, I don't get that one. Anyone else have a belief that comes up in your brain sometimes? You're like, why does it keep coming up? Anything ever go in your brain? Hey, what's limiting me? Anyone?
Like I used to run at Big O Tires in Tracy.
You used to work there?
I used to run it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so I managed it, and then for like 5 years, and then yeah, it was always like one of those things. Like every morning, it's kind of like, man, I hope we got people coming in through that front door today.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like, I mean, it's nothing that you're gonna personally like, you know, grab people off the street, but you're hoping like all the marketing and you know all the
Yeah.
programs that you set within the community,
Mhm.
you know, turn into you know business people coming in and
Mhm.
you know referrals. But yeah, it was like every morning I was just like, I hope there's people at the door.
Yeah. Yeah, that can be a limiting belief. Yeah, what you believe is oftentimes what you get, unfortunately. Anyone else have something that keeps showing up in your brain? You're like, dang it, why does this limiting thing keeps coming up? Anyone? Or does anyone have any limiting belief currently about maybe thinking, oh, well, you know, maybe I can't do this real estate thing? Anyone?
Or maybe,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
sorry.
No.
So maybe you will think currently the market is not so good, and yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. They think that the market sucks and so they can't sell a house, right? Yeah. As I mentioned, a recession is a terrible thing to waste. Because what happens in a recession? Well, that people leave the business. This is like the greatest thing for agents. In a recession is when you build market share. I'm happy for when a recession comes. I'm super. What's that? Market share. So if there was 100 homes that sold in Livermore, well, I want to sell 90 of them. That means I have a 90% market share. So in a recession, I'm competing with less agents. And so with that less agents, there's less competition. And then I will do the same work, and then I'll build my market share because those other agents will leave. That's what I mean by, and that's exactly what happens. Those who have a consistent business and consistently do the things day in and day out, the market shifts. You may not sell as many houses because numbers of sales go down, but because people leave the business, you're still building market share. And then when the market turns, you grow like gangbusters. That's kind of what happened in our business. Heidi?
Also, a recession is when you get to run into short sales
Yes.
and REOs.
I hate those. Actually, that is a limiting belief, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, I found a guy who did them for me. I would just sign them up and hand them over to Dave Dufresne.
Oh, so you get a referral fee?
No, I paid him a referral fee. So I handled the listing, I sold it, and once I got it in contract, he would handle the bank communication, and he knew everybody. And all I had to do was get the listing, and he would do all the work. So you find ways around to leverage. And again, my limiting belief was that I suck at them, and I kind of did. I knew I was not good at getting on the phone with these banks because I didn't have the relationships that he had. So you leverage, you find other people who have that strength, and then you partner with them. And that's what we did. So we sold foreclosures and short sales and things like that. So you can work it to where you can, it can be an opportunity for you. All right. What other limiting beliefs do you have about this business? What about the money you can make? Go ahead.
You have to offer credit commission.
Oh,
Commission credit.
really? So you think that?
I think that.
You know the best solution for that? Skills. Remember, skills pay the bills, the scripts. And were we talking the other day about, I read to you what my response was to a guy who wanted me to sharpen my pencil. Remember?
That's a great response.
Yeah, he got back to me actually. So I interviewed this guy. He interviewed 12 agents. It went down to 4, then it down to 2. It's down to me and some other guy. He wants me to sharpen my pencil. Well, I'm not sharpening my pencil. I told him why. You get what you pay for, right? I know it's kind of cliche, but it's true, really. And what do the best companies and the most professionals, what do? They hire the best because they provide value. They keep you out of legal trouble. They make you more money. At the end of the day, you net more money on your sale. And there are a few other reasons. So you have to know how to articulate that on the spot to people. And that I was just sharing with her. I had a guy ask me that via email. I'm like, dude, what a jackass, And here's the thing. when you have more leads, right, more clients, more opportunities, and talk to more people, you don't have to work with those guys. Because who do those guys know? They know more people just like them. So you don't want to work with people like that because they're going to refer you to those are D for delete, you get rid of them. And you go to the next people, because trust me, there is enough business for everybody. And there are enough people out there who will pay you what you're worth. So you will allow what you're willing to put up with. I mean, that's really what it comes down to in real estate. And a lot of people do commission cuts. I do not recommend it. You can't stay in business that way. You just can't. You won't be able to afford to. So I highly recommend that you get the skills so you know what to say. And in this community in particular, it's becoming more pervasive. Things are tightening a little bit, so you just need to be skilled to combat that, okay?
Are you willing to share what that guy's responsible?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's gonna pay for the staging. Yeah. Yep. So I'll let you know how it ends up. I'll let you know if I get the listing. Okay, so limiting beliefs. How could you redirect these negative thoughts into positive ones? That could fill your success. We've kind of been talking about that. I'm just kind of reading through here. They say here, I need to be a professional, not an expert. Expertise will come from doing. This training will best prepare me for success in the real estate business, and taking productive action will cause my success. Okay. Let's do one more here. When I set and track my goals and complete the activities required to meet my goals, I will fund my life this year. Interesting thing too about this, we before talked about having your business plan and being able to envision what you want to do with the help of classes like this and your business plan. I just want to share with you, when I wrote my first business plan, I had hired Buffini Company as my coach. I've had the same coach for 13 years now. And
company?
Buffini and Company.
Oh.
Yeah, so Buffini and Company is the North America's largest real estate trainer. They have personal coaches, real estate coaches. You don't have to get a real estate coach, but it's a phenomenal training organization. They teach you how to work by referral. Calls, notes, pop by, contact care community, the whole gamut. The cool thing about it is you can pull out your goals. Let's say you make some goals next week. Trust me, if you stay in this business and you do the hard work, you'll look back on the goals that you wrote and you'll think, wow, my thinking was so small. Because once your mind expands and you've done the business, you realize, wow, you don't think now that you're having limited beliefs, but trust me, you are. When I looked at my goals for the first year, I think I wrote, hey, make my first 100,000 or sell my first 10 houses. That was my goal for my first year. And now I look at that and go, oh, wow, that's such limiting beliefs. All you need to do is, get educated quickly and leverage hiring talent to help you do things, and that's how you can get to doing things faster. So I just didn't know that. So once you know these things, your mind expands, and you can't go back to that. Making $100,000 would not be good enough. Not at all. Yeah. So again, just think about that stuff. All right, so let's move on to number 6, be accountable. Accountability is first and foremost an attitude and an approach to your entire life, right? I don't know, do you think you can make people accountable, honestly? Anyone?
It's hard enough to do it yourself, much less
right.
everybody else.
Right. I think if I was trying
to.
You'd like to, right? And you'd like to make people accountable, but really it's like I want to say, Zig Ziglar used to say motivation's like taking a bath, you need it every day. That was one of his sayings. And so we can motivate people, like I could try to motivate you to get to do your job, but unless you know what your big why is as to why you're doing this business, you won't maintain, you will drift, you will do other things, you'll do the errands, you'll do everything but the 5 jobs that I told you, which was again, lead generate, lead follow up, write contracts, negotiate, and go on appointments. You'll do all the other things, you won't do what you're focused on. It just happens. And so if you can keep yourself accountable by having your own plan, calendarizing that plan, looking at it on a weekly basis, focusing on that, because when you focus on stuff, things happen. That's really what it comes down to. You need to keep yourself accountable. Don't count on other people doing it. Successful people don't count on other people keeping them accountable. Teachers try to do that. How does that work for teachers? Oh, not very well. Not very well at all. I mean, it helps to have a coach, right? Because you don't want to disappoint, right? You never want to be like the loser in the class and not do the homework. Because trust me, Lloyd will get on you if you'll start not showing up when you don't do the homework. But that's not going to happen, right? You have to keep yourself accountable. So you need to know why you're doing this. Who is willing to share what their big why is? Why do you want to make a lot of money in real estate? Anyone want to share? Go ahead.
I want to help breadwinners, so that my husband's not the only breadwinner.
Okay. That's noble. I like that. Okay, where's Justin? Justin, what's your big why?
Getting into real estate, I was under the impression people would be lining up for me to be listing their stuff. And now that I'm here, it was a little bit of a setback, kind of just like a wake-up call.
Yeah.
But now that I am here and I'm invested, it's almost a blessing because this is something I'm uncomfortable with, just being out there and getting my name out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's a good place to be because you don't really want to be stagnant, especially in your profession. So
Right.
I don't know. I feel like just hunkering down and really doing the work will pay off in the long run in ways that I don't even understand yet.
Awesome. Do you have like one goal? Like if you, like what's the big, you're like, hey, why do I want to do this crazy job? Is it money for you? Is it building a business? I mean, what?
It's more the social aspect.
Okay.
I've always been a little awkward. And if I could break into this industry and become successful.
I find that there's a limiting belief. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally limiting. You are not awkward, not at all. An awkward person would be sitting in the back of the room. I'm kidding. Yeah. My suggestion is, pick the big why, right? There's one overarching reason why you'll put up with the madness. And then we can talk about goals too. They say goals are supposed to be SMART, right? SMART is an acronym for, oh gosh, what is it? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and a timetable. But for this is going to be more of us. You got to have to connect with what your why is. And again, I'm ad-libbing a little bit, but it's so critical. Otherwise, you're not going to put in the time. You're going to get distracted. You're going to go do other stuff. Go ahead.
Can I ask what your big why is?
What it was?
What it was when you first started?
Mine just changed, actually.
It just changed?
Yeah, big time. So when I got into, I'll try to tell you real quick. So, I love what I do. I've been wanting to do this since high school. I used to read Dave Delgado, Carlton Sheets, how to buy houses with no money down, all that kind of real estate stuff. Loved it. But I had limiting beliefs when I got out of college, and I did the corporate thing, and I realized I hated it. So I got, you know how as a drug addict, you have to get to the low and realize this job sucks. I hated what I was doing. I worked in a small office with this woman named Margaret Arnold. She was the biggest, I won't say. She was horrible, and I thought, you know what? Life is too short. If you love something, you need to go for it. But I had to put the brakes on because I was married. I married my high school sweetheart. I've been married 30 years in February. So I was married, started having my kids. I have 2 kids, and this is part of my big why. So after being home for 9 years, I told my husband, I'm going to sell real estate. I've always wanted to do it. And he said, I'll believe it when I see it. That's what he told me. He didn't realize he realized I'm competitive. But I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just knew I would do it. And that's why I say you fake it till you make it. You guys are so lucky that you have this training, that you have Keller Williams. I didn't have that. I worked for a small boutique brokerage, and you know what he said? He said, go knock on doors. And that's what I did for years. No joke. And that's why we dominate sales in Livermore, but I knocked on doors for 7 straight years. Go ahead.
So it's cute. Her husband is now bringing flyers to her.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the big why. So kind of fast forward a little bit. My big why was I wanted my kids to be out of college debt free. That was like my big why. And so my oldest is 24. She graduated last January. She now sells real estate. She's had her license for a few months. She just sold her first house. Just bought a house in Livermore. And then my 21-year-old is down at Azusa Pacific down in Southern California. She's a senior. She's getting married. She and her fiance are graduating in December. And we've just paid our last college tuition payment. So that was my big why, what I didn't realize happened is my husband retired. So he's 49 and retired from Lawrence Livermore. He's also a police officer. So now he's the director of our business. So he's director of operations, runs payroll, works with attorneys, pays the bills, handles anything in the office. We have an operations office, and then sales happens elsewhere. And so now my why is other stuff, right? Teaching, training, encouraging other people. I want to see my girls be entrepreneurial. I have often, conversations about classes that I've taken here. One is, I'm trying to think of the name of the class. It's actually books too. So Robert Kiyosaki is a great mentor. He wrote that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Highly recommend you read that book if you have not read that book. It is a must for you to read. The single biggest selling book in business called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He wrote a second book called Cash Flow Quadrant, and this is what I share with you. It's what I share with my clients. It's what I share with my kids, and this is my passion. You need to understand that if you go back to a job, you know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to trade your hours for a paycheck, right?